Allergies can make the warm, beautiful spring weather harder to enjoy. And for those who suffer from them on allergies and really different types of sneezing and sniffling, we're going to help you track down some of the medications to provide relief for those allergies. Dr. Reena Mehta, she joins us on how to treat the constant sneezing and itchy eyes. And doctor, thank you very much for joining us. So many people say spring is my favorite time of year, but if you've got allergies, it kind of splits the difference to say it's a miserable time of year. So what can people do, and especially in South Louisiana, to kind of help themselves get through all the sneezes, sniffling, and all that pollen?
So it's a beautiful time of year. Everybody wants to be outside. The weather is perfect, but if you're an allergy sufferer, well, you're probably feeling it. And so what I'm going to go through is a guide based on your symptoms. So let's kind of start from the beginning. If your symptoms include sneezing, itching, watery nose, watery eyes, you may benefit from taking an over-the-counter antihistamine, such as Zyrtec or Allegra. These medications block histamine, and histamine is a chemical that's released when you're having an allergic reaction. So when I think about antihistamines, people always ask me, well, which one do I take? There's so many that are over-the-counter. They work based on level of potency. And so Claritin is the least potent antihistamine. And so it typically doesn't work well if your symptoms are pretty significant. Zyrtec and Allegra are more mid-level and can work pretty well and still be non-drowsy. And then Xyzal is the strongest over-the-counter antihistamine that you can find in Walgreens or CVS or another drugstore.
So when it comes down to the, fair weather allergy type person, which again, everybody gets sneezes, sniffles, things like that. So over the counter, it's safe to talk to the pharmacist, get a good idea of what you should take. But what about more extreme cases? I've got friends who actually have to take allergy shots certain times a year.
Yeah, so I mean, over-the-counter medications only can take you so far. I mean, if your symptoms are severe and it happens this time every year, then you should see your allergist to get allergy testing and think about doing allergy shots, because that's really the only cure. Allergy shots are like a desensitization for the things that you're allergic to, and it's very, very effective. But if you are, just symptomatic a couple of weeks out of the year and can handle over-the-counter stuff, it depends on your symptoms. So the other symptom to consider is nasal congestion and sinus pressure. So if that is your issue, then you're more likely to benefit from a nasal spray. So I mean something like Flonase, Nasacort, Rhinocort, all of those are over the counter. And so a nasal spray such as that, I'm going to give you an example. When you use it, you want to shake it up. And when you put it inside your nose, you want to put the tip of the nasal spray to go outwards pointing towards the ears. You want to get it into your sinuses. If you go straight up, a lot of it drips to the back of the throat and you're going to taste it. So you want to shake it and spray, and you want to use that twice a day. And that can be very effective if your symptoms are more congestion and sinus pressure and headaches.
That's a good suggestion, because a lot of times I do it the wrong way, right up the straight, nose. You're right, you kind of taste it. So you have to hit those nasal cavities pretty good.
You want to get it into the sinuses.
Into the sinuses. So let's talk a little about some other things that aren't medication, but wearing sunglasses can block some of the pollen. Changing your air conditioning filters. If you have pets, they can pick up a lot of dander and a lot of pollen too. So even not so much medication-wise, but there are other things you can do to kind of mitigate that.
Exactly. Basic things that you may not even thought about. So if you're going to be outside all day, it's important to kind of cover the areas that are going to get affected by pollen. So you want to wear a hat, sunglasses. We're all wearing masks right now. Wearing masks is a really great way to filter out the pollen. And usually by wearing masks, you're not going to be asymptomatic because you're not going to breathe in as much of the allergens. So that can be helpful. If you've been outside all day, the first thing you want to do when you come home is clothes in the wash and take a shower. You want to wash all the pollen off, because if you don't, and now you go sit on your couch or you get in bed, now you brought pollen into your bed, and then you can have more symptoms. You want to think about washing your sheets more, hot water, high heat. You want to wash your pets more often because they carry dust and pollen as well. And you want to change out your air filters more frequently, typically before the season and then right after the season.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, Dr. Mehta, thank you very much for joining us. And again, some tips to kind of help you get through the beautiful time of year. But if you're an allergy sufferer, it may not be so beautiful. So